Alright folks, here we are. This has been a long time coming, but here we are. As the title shows, we are here league racing in the MoJo Showdown. Now, the first question you probably got is, what is the MoJo Showdown? So MoJo Showdown was made by, you see on the top of the screen, MoJo Show TTV. She is a Twitch streamer for the F1 game, and her brother and personal friends and family all wanted to start their own league, and it's comprised of content creators, their friends and family, VIPs from their streams, and it just brings together a wide variety of people from the community all together into one league. And I like joining these types of leagues. It's the second time I've been in a kind of a league like this, and the thing that I really like about them is that, like I just said, it brings together a wide variety of people. You know, you got everything from your competitive players to your more content creators, you know, people experienced and new to league racing alike, and you know, it gets a lot of eyes on it because it's various streamers and different people showing their own perspectives, so you can see the race from a lot of different people's perspectives. It just makes for a very interesting league, I feel like, and I like playing the game, and it's fun. So, and the reason I started making, or I am going to start making these videos about the races, is because, well, they wanted as many POVs of the races as possible, and obviously, it would be, yeah, I kind of point out there, wow, AI 0, I'm just looking through the settings. Always double check your settings, folks. Always double check the settings. But yeah, where was I? Yeah. Where was I? What the hell? You see, that's the issue of doing this for the first time. You're gonna have little hiccups. Also, shoutouts to Phoebes in the background. She is living her best life on my bed. You know, my bed is usually nice and very neat when it's made, but as you can see, it gets pretty ratty and disorganized looking. That's because of this little dipshit back here. So shout out to Phoebes. So yeah, here we are at round, this is actually round 3, and like I said, I wanted to start I wanted to record these somehow, and I was thinking about how to go about doing it. I mean, I could do just upload the whole footage unedited, I could commentate over it, or I could try to stream. The first option of the 3 just seemed the most boring, obviously. The second option wasn't really going to work out because it's a lot of strain on a connection to stream and league race on it, especially when you're playing a game like F1 where you're playing with people all over the world. Like, it's already impressive that you can be in lobbies with people this far away and their cars not jump around a lot, but to do that and stream at the same time, it's just too much strain on the connection. And as I'll talk about in the race recaps from the first 2 rounds, as the title shows, this is round 3, did not want to risk messing up the race for myself or others by streaming and having my car glitching while in the race. So I figured this is the next best way to go about doing it, and also this is something I've wanted to do, I want to say for a while, but not really that long. I don't know. My thought process was maybe when the next game starts, because I hate starting something in the middle of the season. So when the next game would come out, kind of do it, you know, just right off the rip. F1 2022 drops, and I'm doing it for all of my league races. But I figured this is a nice way to test the waters, get myself acquainted to it, warmed up to it, a little bit better at it, and yeah, then when I hit the ground running when 2022 comes out, and I can kind of gauge how what the reception's like when I do these as well. So yeah, as you can see on the screen, it is one-shot qualifying. This is, all the rules are your regular league racing rules, you know, 50% race, qualifying for the race, equal car performance, yada yada yada. A couple things to point out is that it's only clear weather here. A lot of people in this are not only new to league racing, but some are just new to the game in general. Like the strides that people like MoJo and Chan, her brother, have both made in this game, jumping right in, taking assists off immediately, only playing the game for a couple months. You know, that's big props to them for doing that so quickly. So you gotta give them benefit of the doubt on not making the whole jump to wet weather yet, still learning the tracks in the dry. And yeah, one-shot qualifying, which means very high risk, very high reward. So my thought process always going into one-shot qualifying is just make sure I don't invalidate or spin. Like, I don't want to be a hero going for a couple extra tenths when I just really need to make sure that I'm putting a legal app and starting towards the front. Because speaking of the people in this, and as I get into the recap of the first couple rounds, my big competition in this league is EVG Timo. He won the first round. He was up my butt all the second round, which I want to go into more detail about them later. But yeah, I know that it's going to be down to me and him, so I just want to make sure I put in a solid lap. If I get pole, great. If he qualifies in front of me, like, I just want to be in contention and not put myself in a horrible position here. And I go out wide immediately and the car gets loose at the first 2 corners. Not a great start. It's going to sound like I'm making an excuse here, but I live in Pennsylvania and it was freezing during this race. It was colder in this house than I've ever felt it before. And the wind chill was incredible. Oh my goodness. I was in full hoodie, long sleeve shirt underneath, 2 layers of pants. I even had a blanket sitting across my lap, which I've never done before. And I didn't realize, because as a pad player, you really rely on that vibration of the controller, that this nice soft brown blanket here was actually absorbing some of the rumble of the vibration, which you use to feel the limit of the car. So I actually had a harder time feeling the limit of the car, but I quickly got used to it. And I feel like, yeah, it's probably in my own head. But yeah, so far this lap is nothing special, just nice and solid. A few mistakes, you know, this lap I was not really happy with at all, but we will see where we end up. So yeah, in the little free time here, I guess I can recap the first 2 rounds, because like I said, this is round 3 of the championship. Round 1, and this is full race calendar. We're doing all 24 tracks, but in a random order. MoJo on her streams actually picks the next track out of a hat, so then we know a week in advance what the next track will be. It's an interesting way to do it, and I like it. And so first round was Bahrain, and it was a pretty straightforward race. We were doing the medium to hard strategy, we qualified well, we were racing well, we were out in front, and then we actually disconnected from the lobby. The internet did not cut out, because I was in a party chat, I was still able to stay in the party chat, and I didn't get dropped from PlayStation Network, so I just disconnected from the lobby itself. I was able to get back in, but by that time I already lost so much time. And I ended up finishing 3rd place. There was no safety cars in that race. Pretty uneventful. Better open up the door for my cat before she starts bawling. Phoebes doesn't want to hang out with us anymore. And yeah, it was really disappointing to not just lose that race, but lose it in that kind of a manner, because, you know, I'm out in front, you know, on for the win in the debut of the very first season of this league, and then you lose it like that. Just, those ones always suck the most. You know, it's one thing if you mess up yourself and you're like, alright, I didn't drive the best, you know, someone else was better than me today. But when things you can't control just screw you over, those eat at you every time. It's really inconvenient. But luckily, round 2 was Saudi Arabia, and it looked like it was a straightforward race. You know, I was always a couple seconds out in front of Timo, but it was anything but straightforward, because we're both pushing to the limit the entire time. We did opposite strategies, where I went softs mediums, he went medium soft, so that stress was always there. I think, if I remember correctly, he picked up a time penalty towards the end of the race, so I was able to take him down. But here we are, round 3. We got pole position. No one else really put in that solid of a lap. Amazing grid start, and we are off to the races here on the first lap. So yeah, I think that pretty much covers everything. I will put in the description the POVs, the streams and or YouTube channels of the other people in the league that do content. And yeah, we're just going to go through, recap the race. I know I'm trying to cram a lot in a little bit of time here. There's a lot to catch up on, you know. I got to tell you what the league is, what's happened so far, the people in it, all at the same time as the clip's playing and I'm saying about what I did. So yeah, the qualifying lap I didn't feel like was anything special, but I feel like everyone struggled on their qualifying lap. So we were able to start out in front. We got an excellent grid start, and yeah, this is exactly the start that we needed, because with Timo winning the first round when we got 3rd, and even though we won the 2nd round, finished 2nd behind us, we still did not have the championship lead. We were down in the championship by 4 points heading into this race, so I was really hoping to just have a solid race, bring home a win, hopefully no drama, hopefully no poorly timed safety cars screw us over or anything like that, praying for no disconnect. The whole time I was in round 2 at Saudi Arabia, I was just playing do not disconnect again. That would have been so disappointing, but luckily it did not happen. So yeah, we lead on the first lap, and there seems to be a big gap behind us. I couldn't quite tell if it was because there's people battling behind us, or we just had that good of a lap, or what happened, but honestly, I didn't really care in this moment. My focus was just focus on my own race, race my own race, stay solid, and I really was hoping to have the championship lead coming out of this race. I really felt like I should have had the championship lead in round 1 in Bahrain, and to lose it like that, I felt like I was fighting from the back foot when I didn't necessarily need to be, and I did not want to allow any dumb mistakes to put myself in a points hole early on in this championship. It's the last thing you want to do, even if you feel like you're the faster driver, is go down 30 points, 40 points, and then what will happen is you catch yourself overextending yourself, pushing harder than you should to try to make up for that lost ground, instead of just keeping a cool head and just racing your own race. You'll probably hear me say that a lot over the course of the season, race your own race. So what I basically mean by that is just play the game to the best of your own ability and let everything else happen around you. Is emotional, it can get sometimes, it can difficult mentally, it can get sometimes to keep your focus and keep your cool. You just got to think, alright, this is what's going on right now. I need to do the best I can in this moment and make the best decision that I can in this moment, regardless of what happens in the past. So fast forwarding a little bit, early on it wasn't too eventful of a race. Just, I already see a lap car coming up, someone must have been struggling, had a couple spins or something. Yeah, not much going on early on, just trying to keep my hands as warm as possible. I felt like I wasn't driving that great this whole race because my hands were freezing. It was a lot of people, you hear when you're watching Formula 1, oh, they need to keep your temperature up. Like, that's how I felt with my body. And then boom, just like that, our teammate has retired from the race.
Okay, we can take you this lap.
And right away, no hesitation with our decision. Something that I always make sure I got prepared when I go into every league race is I know exactly how far I am willing to take each tire. I know exactly how much fuel to put on the car, etc., etc. So as soon as I saw that safety car was coming out, I knew that I could go to hards and then I would be good to go for the rest of the race. If there was no other safety car in this race, I would not have to pit stop again, meaning my only stop would be under the safety car, saving a ton of time. And I was 100% confident this is the right decision. Keeping yourself under the delta, a little bit difficult there, and as we come into the pits, I would say hope that our crew has a good stop, but when you play online, it's a set time. Always going to be 2.6 seconds, which you can actually use to your advantage. You can kind of time your launch. Playing without the pit assist is much faster. You launch out of the pits quicker. Your entry anywhere that has an autopilot before the pit line is faster. Being able to manually do the exit is much faster. So yeah, big advantage to not using that assist. We come out of the pits in third position, and I felt pretty good about this, honestly, because not only are we towards the front, but we're the leading car that does not have to stop again. Mediums will not make it to the end. Softs will not make it to the end, and I'm confident that a soft to medium strategy from here, for people that would have to perform that pitting under green while I pit under safety car, I was confident that from league races past on this track that this was the way to go. I actually had a league race. I know it's a different game, and the game is a little different, but I had a league race back in F1 2019 that it was my debut in a league, and there was a lap 1 safety car in Japan. I went directly to hards. I took hards the distance. I was the only one that did that, and I won my debut race solely because of that in a league that I did not have the pace yet to be winning. But yeah, it was really inconvenient to see my teammate go out because not only are we fighting for the Drivers' Championship, but obviously we're fighting for the Constructors as well. And I said about who my main rival is in terms of the Drivers' Championship, being Timo, who is in a Williams. But interesting enough, me and him were both in a Red Bull. So me and him were both Red Bull round 1, and after round 1 there was discussions about balancing teams, and also he didn't, understandably, and I understand it, like he didn't want to have the two best drivers in terms of raw pace on the same team because we're fighting over the same pit box. So in a day there was discussions in the Discord, and he chose to switch with Race Guy to move to Williams. So now Williams is a pretty good team. It has Timo and I believe Barkologist, who is another, I would say, upper tier. If you would say that me and Timo are like the front runners fighting for the wins, then Barkologist is right there in the head of that midfield. So are both Mercedes drivers. Mercedes is a kind of a dark horse, like third team fighting for this, where they just have two front running midfield drivers. Red Bull's got me and Race Guy, who unfortunately DNF, so the points will be down to me on this race. And then, like I said, Williams has a solid mid-tier driver and embarkologist with my championship rival Timo. So it'll be an interesting fight over the course of the season, and a nice three-way fight for the constructors. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah, the cars ahead, they're going to have to pit again. They are on the mediums that they started on. They will have to pit under green. So all I'm thinking about right now is I need to dispatch, I'm just going to call him Vaughn for short. I'm going to call him Vaughn for short so I don't butcher the name on this video. We need to get by Vaughn on those old mediums as quickly as possible, mainly because we just don't want Timo to break away. If Timo's strategy of being able to make a stop when we're not making any stops for the rest of the race, for that strategy to work, he's going to have to start pulling the gap right when the safety car comes in. So, like I said, I'm going to want to dispatch a Vaughn as quickly as possible, which isn't going to be any easy feat. You know, he's definitely one of the quicker drivers in this league. Yeah, we have to get by him quickly and make sure that Timo does not start breaking away. For some reason, you know, like watching this back, I watched this back and I was like, yeah, go to hards, that's the obvious play. And as soon, like if you would show me this and I somehow like lost my memory and didn't know what happened, and you showed me this situation, I'd be like, yeah, like this is a win every day of the week, like no question about it. But for some reason during the race, I was kind of questioning it. I'm like, oh, he stayed out, he probably knows something. Maybe if he's a second faster like every lap when I'm on these hards, maybe he's gonna catch up to me. Maybe I made the wrong decision. I'm not driving so good, so I'm not gonna have the best pace, so maybe that'll also play. Like, I was way overthinking this one, which I usually don't do. Usually I'm just chilling, racing my own race. But yeah, I was overthinking this one, and we'll see. I think the safety car will be coming in this lap, and we can get to a part of the race that has a little bit more action in it. The start wasn't too eventful, which is kind of why I used it to talk, because like I said, my qualifying lap was pretty uneventful, not great, but no one had a good lap. And then the race start was I got a good grid start, and then everyone behind me was fighting, so I grew a gap until the safety car came out. So first hurdle, I guess you could say, in this race is right now, and this is where pretty much the real race begins. Timo, he's going to do mediums to softs till the end, so he'll be quicker than us. We are taking the hards all the way, trying to get the best launch, but really making sure we don't we don't bin it. But we are green again, and I was happy to see that I don't have a car right up my butt. So I do not want to have to think about passing the guys ahead while at the same time defending behind. That could turn into a big mess. So yeah, I'm just trying to stay as close as I can to Vaughn, and any chance that I get, I was going to go for the overtake. Because like I said, I cannot let Timo get too far up the road, which he's kind of already doing right now. And right there, Vaughn makes a mistake, has oversteer coming out of one of the S's, heads onto the gravel, and we get to go by for second. I don't know if my voice was loud enough to catch that. Jeff said that was a great maneuver, and I said thanks, Jeff. That was some of my best work. A little cheeky sarcasm there, I guess. So yeah, now the race is on. I'm on the slower tire, but I do not have to stop. So over the course of this race, like I said, the challenge will be, right now it seems like we're the one hunting him down, but really he's the one hunting us down, because he's going to pit and we're going to take the lead, and then he's going to have to hunt us down again. So right now, any distance that he gets on us is essentially him closing the gap down the line, you know, like in the future. So I'm really trying to not focus on him too hard and just race my own race, try to get my act together. I just felt like I wasn't up to my own level. Like usually I'm pretty on it on pretty much every corner, but here I was just having like corner here, corner there. It wasn't good, you know, losing a tenth here, losing a tenth there, which isn't that bad, and it's going to happen to absolutely everyone in the world over the course of a race, but it just was happening way more regularly. You know, I was missing apex here and there. It was just little dumb things. Like, I wish I actually knew, like, was it because my hands were cold? Was I not practiced enough? But at the same time, I'm probably just overthinking that, just like I way overthought the strategy and my confidence in that. Alright, so moving forward to lap 10 here, I get my first warning of the race, and something I really always focus on, but I'm focusing on especially harder in leagues like this, where maybe the chance of a safety car is a little bit higher, is that you really don't want to get penalties for obvious reasons, especially when I'm in a close, different strategy race with Timo. But also, if there's a late safety car, time penalties just really screw you over because the field gets clumped back together. If there's only a couple laps to go, the time intervals are going to be small, so just the likelihood that a time penalty makes or breaks races is basically 100% if there's a late safety car. So I always have that in the back of my mind, and like I said in the qualifying, having that mentality of, yeah, you're trying to go as fast as you can, but I'm not going to be a hero going for a couple extra tenths and risk either binning it and spinning out and losing way more than a couple tenths, or getting that time penalty, because those couple little tenths that you're going for by using every inch of the track is never going to be worth that 3 seconds that you get for getting a penalty. And like I said, especially if there's that late safety car. And as you just heard from Jeff right there, we are now at the point where his tires are starting to wear off and we are gaining on him. And something that I usually don't look at my lap times at all. I like to play with a minimalistic HUD. It just works best for me. But to be able to see my delta, I have to have the current time and all that in the corner. It just comes with it. I wish it wasn't like that, but it is. But something that it did help me with in this race was I kind of noticed peeking at it, because I always thought like, hey, I'm probably setting a personal best, and I wasn't. But I was always consistently within a tenth. That's something I really like about the hard tire. It's kind of easy to tell what your pace is, because the tires go off at the same rate that the car gets quicker from less fuel. So your lap times, it's easy to have very consistent lap times, so you can kind of gauge how you're driving and improving or getting worse over the course of the race in terms of your driving style. And something I noticed over the course of this race, while I don't feel like I played maybe to my fullest potential, my pace was really consistent. And I didn't really have any moments up until this point that, you know, I was about to spin or anything like that, which is obviously a good thing, because I'd much rather get second than DNF, which sounds obvious, but that's something you always got to think about, because you're not just racing the race you're on right now, you're racing the whole season. And over the course of 24 races, DNFs can really kill you compared to another driver in the championship that's just consistently getting podiums. So really didn't want to bin it. It's that tightrope you're constantly walking when doing these races, that on one hand you want to be going as fast as possible, but on the other hand, you know, it's that penalty of any little bit of a mistake if you push the limit too hard. So as the race moved on, we advanced to lap 17. It's still the same race. Eventually Timo's going to be pitting here onto fresh softs, and he just set the fastest lap, so that told me he's pushing very hard, and he's going to be pitting soon. And in the back of my head, I was thinking about how quick he's going to be on those fresh softs, but at the same time, I was just focusing on my own race. So I was really just going to be checking in with Jeff a lot to kind of get a feel of what the intervals are and just get a gauge of the situation. Because if I was pretty good in terms of what the gap was, then I could maybe relax a little bit and not push so hard and risk spinning out. And speaking of risking spinning out, we see a Williams off in the grass, and that is him. That is Timo. He must have made a mistake, just like we saw Vaughn make when that safety car came in. And I was shocked when I saw that. Like, I assumed that was just a back marker struggling, and then when I got closer and saw it was a Williams, I was like, wait a second, no way. Looked up at the corner, saw that I'm P1 now, and I thought, man, like, that is, you do gotta feel for the guy, and he's pushing really hard trying to make it happen. But now I can mentally relax, because this whole charade, this whole game we've been playing, is the one stop on the fast tires or the no stop on the slow tire going to be better? Like, that's all, it all doesn't matter now. So now I just need to do what I was doing, focus on racing my race, and if anything, I can kind of chill out a little bit, you know, not ride the limit so hard, really make sure I'm not hitting the dangerous curbs in Sector 1, and like I said, just make sure I don't bin this race. I got handed a great opportunity right here. I need to make sure I take it, because not only will this give us the race win, but it'll give us the lead in the championship as well. And you will see he's going to pit behind us. He's still going to be really fast on those fresh softs, but yeah, he needed to have that gap pulled to us when he pit to have a chance at this. So at this point, I was just hoping and praying, no more safety cars, no more safety cars, no more safety cars. Please let this stay green the rest of the way so I can bring this one home. moving forward to lap 23, everything's looking good for us. Over a 20-second lead at this point. They are setting fastest laps behind, but I know I'm not worrying about fastest lap on these probably 45-50% hard at this point. And then I see the yellow, I see a delta pop up, and I mentally panic. I'm like, oh no, this might turn into a mess here at the end. But then I see it's just a virtual safety car. And you can hear the gap from Jeff there. There was actually a little bit of time because Timo made that mistake that when he came out of the pits he was actually in third, which, I mean, that's just more time he got held up, which just helped secure my lead even more at this point. So when I saw the virtual safety car, I knew by the time this virtual safety car came in, it would be too late in the race for a full safety car to come out. So at this point, this was basically GG's, the end of the race. As long as I make sure I don't bin it. Anything can always happen. I just really was saying to myself again, like, don't bin it. We got this race. We got the championship lead now. Just bring it home. As we move forward, starting the final lap of the race, still in the lead, still got a plentiful gap, and I think the real MVP of the race were these hard tires. These things were an absolute unit. I love using these hard tires at Japan when there's an early safety car. The consistency of the pace, the tire doesn't become more difficult to drive as it gets worn because the car also gets lighter, so it feels very consistent throughout the entire stint, which I really like, and it makes it really easy to just improve as a driver when the car is changing basically almost not at all over the course of the stint. And being able to have that advantage of track position over people that got a pit, and just being able to put on the pressure that they have to push to extend the gap, they have to push to reel you back in. It's just a position that I like being in. I heard a lot of other drivers in the lead saying that, oh, they didn't want to go to the hards, they thought the hards are awful around here. I mean, I can see that. It's a track that's already difficult for traction and deadly curbs, so the tire that has less steering radius and grip, I can imagine how it would be difficult to drive. But once you get used to the track, the hards can be very useful, like I said, especially on these early safety cars. But as we come, we just gotta manage one more chicane. We also want to make sure we don't get any penalties, even if we still win, because that is something they are keeping track of, and apparently has a cash prize for at least penalties. So, yeah, get in there, Jeff. You hear it? That is the win in this race, and that gives us the championship lead again. Timo is going to be able to bring home second place, so if my math is correct, that will give me a 3-point lead in the championship. But still a lot of races left, and hopefully now we can start growing out this lead. I've, over the course of the last 2 races, made up for the unlucky disconnect in the first round, and we just gotta keep this momentum up and not get lazy, because there are other quick guys behind, and you know, every track's gonna be completely different. Maybe one of their strong tracks are coming up. Just can't allow yourself to get lazy regardless of what's going on in the championship. And we see the final race standings here. We were able to get the win, no penalties, no drama. Only 11 drivers today. Attendance was very not good. We started this league with 16 drivers. I think 16 drivers is technically our full grid, and we had full or almost full grids in the first 2 rounds. This race we had 2 or 3 people that missed they had very good reasons to miss. Other people just not show. It was just all of a sudden this race didn't have as much attendance, but I'm sure it's a one-time thing. You know, you got family members and other content creators in here missing, and obviously they don't want to be missing, and they won't be missing many races over the course of the season. So yeah, quick list of the penalties then. Like I said, there's a cash prize for getting the least amount of penalties, so that's something else that we are shooting for. Felt good to get this win, and we'll see what we can do next week. I forget what the track is. They drew it right after this, but I guess you guys will see when I make the video for next week.